In the last video I posted, I talked about how John Calvin made a big deal about how there's no reference to the shroud in any of the four gospels. And that is a significant objection. I agree, it is a worthy objection, but there's a reason for that because all four gospels were written about 20 to 30 years after the events in question, which is exactly when when persecution was in high swing. So I think that's a pretty good reason why the gospels are silent about it. But Jesus spoke in parables, and there are things that are veiled to the average person, but a person with spiritual eyes can certainly see it. This is called the mystery of the variant gospel accounts. And in this, what we're going to talk about is how all four gospels are different regarding what they saw on the same day as the resurrection. So now where they all agree is that Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and another woman were all making their way to the tomb early Sunday morning to finish the preparation of the body that was left unfinished on Friday because they had to bury Jesus very quickly on Friday because the Jewish Sabbath, especially in this case, it was the Passover, was almost upon them. So they all go to the tomb early, and then they find that the stone is already rolled aside from the entrance, and then this is where their agreement ends. Now watch how they're different. Now in Mark 16:5, it says, as they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. So one man dressed in a white robe, and so we presume an angel. Then in Matthew's gospel, it says, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven, going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothes were white as snow. So now we have one angel. Now he's sitting on the stone that had been rolled back aside from the tomb, and he's brilliant, bright lightning. So you almost can't even look at him. Then in Luke's gospel, verse 24:4, while they were wondering about this, suddenly two men in clothes that gleamed like lightning stood beside them. And so now we have two angels looking like lightning standing on either side of the woman. And then John's gospel is particularly interesting. It says, this is from John 20, verse 12. She bent over to look into the tomb and saw two angels in white, seated where Jesus' body had been, one at the head and one at the foot. So again, two angels, except this time they're not gleaming brilliant like lightning, but they're inside the tomb, sitting one at the head, one at the foot of where Jesus was laid. And it makes you wonder, is this a reference to the double image that we see on the shroud, the frontal and dorsal images? And so again, you ask ourselves, why do we see the ones gleaming in brilliant light? Is this an allusion to perhaps how they understood this? Jesus came back to life in a flash of light, and it just disappeared. And it's and I think that's what this could be. Now, there's another interesting reference. This is in Mark's gospel, and this is before the crucifixion. This is the day before in the Garden of Gethsemane, and this is how it reads. And Jesus speaking, every day I was with you, teaching in the temple courts, and you did not arrest me, but the scriptures must be fulfilled. And then everyone, they deserted him, and he fled. And then it says, a young man wearing nothing but a linen garment was following Jesus. And when they seized him, he fled naked, leaving his garment. And I'm saying, well, wait a minute. So why is that even in there? I mean, it's only in Mark. And so is this an allusion to Jesus leaving his linen shroud in the tomb, and he was crucified naked? And so when you add it all up, you're saying, these are different for a reason. and they're trying to convey something, and I think that it relates to the linen shroud, and so that's just one of the curious things that could very well be a veiled reference to to the shroud, since nothing overt could be said.